Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode number 52 of Preston Jensen's podcast. Today, I'm going to be talking about live streaming technology. I know last week I talked a lot about my new content creation equipment, and one of the main reasons I got this equipment is to do live streaming in the future. It seems like a lot of YouTubers are moving in that direction. A lot of their content is being pushed out live, and to me that's really interesting. It seems like it's a good way to interact with the audience, and it's also a good way for the content creators to get good feedback on the stuff they're making. So after I want to save some of you guys some time here too. So if you guys aren't into live streaming or into technology and stuff, this probably isn't the episode for you, but if you're into that stuff, stay tuned because I want to talk about the software that I'm using currently, and I want to talk about the equipment here that I've got. And if you want to know more about the equipment that I got, check out last week's episode because I did an overview on all of that stuff that I'm using to do this content creation. The software that I ended up downloading, and if everything goes well, I'm testing this for the very first time. I'm going to be posting this podcast in a recorded fashion on YouTube, and that's if things go well. Like I said, this is my very first time using Ecamm Live. I've done some little tests here or there, and I want to tell you what I've been finding and how I really think this software is going to be really helping out my workflow. A few of the things I really like about it is that when I've got this stuff running, it seems like it's totally streamlined my process. I don't have to set up Zoom. I don't have to set up like how I'm going to be recording things, because in the past I've had a big struggle of trying to record things and trying to get the audio to line up with the mouth. On Ecamm Live, it's got a mic delay, so I'm able to set it up where I can delay the microphone so it will line up with the recording. So when I'm done with the recording, everything will just work smoothly. Fingers crossed. I've been working on this a little bit. Right now, I've got my mic delayed by 5. I don't know if that's 5 frames or the technical side of things on how I've got the mic delayed, but I'm hoping that in post now, when I'm done with this podcast, I'm able to just transfer this right over to YouTube and things will just work. The other thing I like about Ecamm Live versus Zoom is that there's going to be a lot less work in post as far as the video production side of the podcast goes. In the past, I've talked about this a lot because it's a big frustration of mine that I usually take the Zoom recording and I take the recording off my Sony a6400, which is in 4K, and I try and splice that over the Zoom recording, and then I take the audio from my Rodecaster Pro, which is recording in high-quality .wav files, and then I try and splice everything together. And as you can imagine, that is very tedious, very time-consuming. However, Final Cut Pro X has a lot of features that makes that whole process easier. If you want to know more about that process, message me. It's a process I probably won't be using too much in the future if all of this stuff works as planned. Another thing I like about this is that you can do overlays, and overlays are going to make things a lot easier on me because I won't have to add them in after the fact in post. It seems like a lot of times after I do a recording, then I've got to go in. If I want things like subscribe to pop up, I've got to do that in post. I've got end screens. With Ecamm Live, theoretically, I'll be able to set up all my scenes. I'll be able to have the overlays I want for those scenes. And then I'll just be able to go through the show just like that. It'll help me lay out the show in my mind. It'll help, hopefully, making the show a lot more interesting for you guys. If you're listening to it on the audio side, everything should stay the same. But if you're watching it on YouTube, this should really increase my production value, and that's my main hope with this. One of the things I noticed when I first started using Ecamm Live, when I invited a guest, if they were on a cell phone, I was having issues with my Rodecaster Pro making everything echo. And I contacted Ecamm Live actually and asked them if they've had this issue, and what they said was great advice. If the person on the other end isn't using headphones, that's probably why you're getting the echoing. And so I had my wife try headphones, and it seemed like the issue was still there. And then so I found another YouTube video on using the Rodecaster Pro in conjunction with Ecamm Live. And one of the things I found was that if you don't have mix minus turned on the Rodecaster Pro, that can cause issues. And I don't really know the technical issues that not having the mix minus on causes, but I called up my mother. I had the mix minus turned on, and it seemed like everything was working for me and my guest on the show. So those are just a few things that caught me off guard when I first started using Ecamm Live. Very small, minor things that hopefully I've got corrected. We'll see after this recording. And the other thing I'm curious about is, am I going to have any issues on the recording side of the Rodecaster Pro? This is the first time I've actually been recording on the Rodecaster Pro using Ecamm Live at the same time. I don't foresee anything happening with that. I've seen some live streams where the Rodecaster Pro can create some buzzing noises, and the thing that's frustrating about that is on the streams that I've seen, the buzzing noises isn't audible to the person monitoring through headphones. It's only something that gets pushed to their audience. And I guess I don't know how to fix that. The person in the video, all they did was restarted the Rodecaster Pro and everything was all right. Another issue I saw people have while using the Rodecaster Pro with Ecamm Live and getting that echoing was that instead of selecting Rodecaster Pro multi-track on for a source for Ecamm Live, they had to select Rodecaster Pro stereo. And like I said, I don't know all the technical specs, all this stuff. I'm just working through this as we speak right now. And I kind of wanted to give you live feedback on my opinions and some things that are popping up as I go through this process. But other than those small things, I have been very impressed with Ecamm Live. Not only is it very easy to learn, I think it provides a lot of value as far as the content creator goes. Another thing that's just wonderful about it is I'm able to do camera corrections inside of Ecamm Live. So I'm able to put a special LUT on my camera. I'm able to use green screen effects for either me or my guest. I'm able to share my screen. I think that could be something very interesting in the video side of things. Right now I'm not recording this live. I'm just recording this in Ecamm Live. And I feel like that could be a very good tool for content creators in general, just because it just really takes away a lot of the nasty post-production stuff that some of us run into. Another thing I really like about this is I don't have to have any other software. I know in the past, Ecamm Live, you've had to have Skype, and you've had to bring in guests through Skype. Now it just has an interview feature where you're able to just send out a link to your guest, and then they're able to join, even if they are not a subscriber of Ecamm Live. which is very nice. I think that's a very good feature. Streamline everything into one platform. So there's a lot of cool things. One other thing I want to bring up is that when I first started using Ecamm Live, there's a lot of settings that you can go through in regards to the audio, the camera, the bringing in your guests, all sorts of different formatting to kind of tailor your show and kind of give your show your own personal touch. And one of the things I noticed was my guests couldn't see what I was sharing. And that was kind of frustrating at first because I thought, oh, if I'm sharing something on the screen, I want my guests to be able to see the stuff I'm pushing out. And all that is a setting inside of Ecamm Live where you select that you want them to see what's being broadcast. These are all just little things that I'm learning, and they're great tools that Ecamm Live has incorporated into making a live stream very professional. So I know there's some other streaming services out there. I think it's called like Riverside FM, StreamYard, and I haven't done a deep dive on all of those other softwares. Like I said, I'm just scratching the surface on what Ecamm can do, and I've had a great experience with this. Now, if all goes well and I post this onto YouTube, you'll be able to see the feed that I'm talking about, and you'll notice that Ecamm Live has a watermark on this video because it is a 14-day trial. One of the things I do not like about Ecamm is that it is a subscription-based platform. I've said this in many podcasts that I'm not a big fan of subscription-based products just because they constantly are getting your money. As a software person who's selling their software, I totally get it. If I was selling this software, I would be doing the exact same thing. But one of the reasons I really like a software like Final Cut Pro is you buy it once and then you're able to download it on all of your equipment or all of your machines. So if there was some minor things I would tweak, that would definitely be one of them. I don't know if there's any live streaming software at the moment that is just you buy it once and then you've got it forever. There probably is. And when I talked about all the other streaming softwares that I've kind of looked at, I'm sure there's a lot more out there. Tell me what you guys think. Do you guys use Ecamm Live? Do you guys use Riverside FM for hosting podcasts? A lot of the people I've talked to either use StreamYard, Ecamm Live, Riverside.fm, and it seems like whatever people are using, they're pretty happy with. So there are some good options out there for live streaming. Some of the other things that kind of make me curious about the live streaming thing is the subscriber count on YouTube. Someone just told me the other day that if you don't have 1,000 people subscribe to your channel on YouTube, you're not able to do live productions. And I looked into that a little more, and it looks like you're not able to do mobile live productions, and it still looks like you're able to post to YouTube in a live format if you have under 1,000 subscribers. So there's some little things that you'll have to work through if you don't have over 1,000 subscribers. And for me, it doesn't really matter. I don't plan on doing any mobile live broadcasting at this time. Maybe sometime in the future, if I get over that 1,000 subscriber mark, maybe I'll think of doing some mobile live feeds. And when I think about that, I think, man, there's a lot that would go into something like that because I've got a lot of equipment set up right here, and I don't know if I'd want to take any of it out of my house. I feel like all of this stuff is equipment that I want to keep safe in my basement. I don't want to be traveling around with it because just basic wear and tear of moving all this stuff would probably really take down the life of a lot of this equipment. So So far, I'm really liking this Ecamm Live. If you haven't got that from the past 15 minutes of me rambling about it. I know this is a very short podcast this week, but it's one I wanted to fill you guys in on because I'm very excited about the future of this live broadcasting platform of Ecamm Live. I haven't decided yet if I'm going to test some of the other softwares before I dive in and actually subscribe to Ecamm Live. Something that, one other thing that kind of makes me question Ecamm Live is that it's only available for Mac at this time. Now, for me, that's totally fine because I have a Mac computer. Like I talked about in the last episode, I've got the M1 Mac Mini, and I've been loving that, and it seems to be doing a great job with this software. But if I was to, if I had someone who had like a Microsoft computer, I wouldn't be able to run this software on Microsoft. Now, that doesn't mean that if I send out a link to someone with a Microsoft product, that they wouldn't be able to run it, because you can. That's a very cool feature. It doesn't matter who you send the link to, they're going to be able to run it on their end, but you just can't have the full software on anything but a Mac at this time, from what I understand. So I'd like to hear your guys' feedback on what your favorite live streaming platform is as far as software goes, and I want to know why those are your favorite streaming softwares, because I'm really contemplating which one I want to go with. I want to thank you guys for listening. If you guys are into content like this, check out my past episodes. A lot of times I'm talking with some of my favorite YouTubers or favorite content creators, or I get a lot of people on a lot of different subjects on this podcast, and I would like some feedback. If you guys have any favorite content creators that you want me to reach out to, I'll definitely try. You can check out all of my other stuff if you just go to my website at prestonjensen.com. You can find my YouTube page, all about my drone business, on how I got into this content creation stuff. And I guess I've got a lot of fun stuff planned for the future. I can't wait to show you guys all the stuff I've got planned. And thank you for coming along for the ride. I've had a lot of fun with this podcast, and I can't wait to see what the future holds. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you next week.